Howdy Neighbors, David here. And today on Boondock Stallions, we're going to be taking a look at the latest episode of WandaVision. Now, forgive me for if my setup looks a little different today. I have gout. I inherited it from my father and his father, and am currently stuck in a chair, unable to stand up and move around. And I've got my laptop set up here for me to go live and do this with you guys. So, WandaVision. New episode just came out. I watched it twice just to make sure I didn't miss anything, and I'm sure I did. I always do. But we'll go over that in the comments. So, Hayward. I can't read my own handwriting. Hayward let out a very significant clue early on in the episode. He was talking out, he was being yelled at by Monica Rambeau about taking shots at Wanda in the previous episode. And he was saying that if we take out Maximoff, this nightmare ends. And I really liked how carefully worded that was. Because one, I've never trusted Hayward, not from episode 1 of the whole series. I feel he's up to something, and he might even be in league with whomever is in charge here. Because, I mean, it's really showing us that Wanda is in charge, but I feel like them showing us that Wanda is absolutely in charge is them trying to show us that Wanda isn't actually in charge, because the one thing she doesn't seem to have, aside from absolute control, is answers to questions that are being thrown at her by Vision and her brother. Okay, let's talk about her brother for just a second. You know what? Actually, I've got it written down on the list. I'll get back to his brother. So, Nightmare. What if Nightmare, and I haven't gotten off my whole Mephisto podium. I am positive Mephisto has something to do with this whole thing, but he could be working with Nightmare in doing this. They could be weak. I was thinking about the commercial for Yo Magic. It was meant to be like a yogurt commercial, but the shark comes out of the water with the kid and asks what he's eating, and he's like, "Oh, I feed off of Yo Magic." What if that is a hint, like a little Easter egg, that somebody is feeding off of the magic? And by magic, I mean the Scarlet Witch's magic. And if I'm right in my theory that Agnes is actually Agatha Harkness, then she too would be a witch. And there's more than enough evidence to support that Agnes is Agatha Harkness, aside from she's constantly using charmed and witch and magic references. Even this episode, she's dressed as a witch. She has that cackling, high-pitched laugh. And AG from Agnes, NES, all come from Agatha and Harkness, which could show us her secret identity is Agnes, Agatha Harkness. I'll get off the drum. I'm sorry. Anywho, so they're really feeding off of, showing us that they're feeding off of magic, and it's not uncommon for Nightmare to show up to feed off of magic. And there was even a rumor that Robert Englund might be voicing a character somewhere in the MCU, and if Robert Englund was voicing a character, how perfect that the Nightmare on Elm Street would be voicing the Nightmare in the MCU. And so that could come into play for Doctor Who, wrong fandom, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness later on. So, continuing on with the episode, Wanda and Quicksilver actually acknowledge the new look. They are constantly talking about the new looks of the show, the house, each other, the kids aging up, and Quicksilver was talking about, forgive me, I stuttered and read 2 lines together from, this isn't going nearly as well as I wanted it to at all. Deleted. Now, moving on. Wanda and Quicksilver are talking about how he doesn't look like Pietro did in Age of Ultron and looks like the Quicksilver from the X-Men universe. And once again, pulling into the Multiverse of Madness, I think that this version of Pietro is still her brother and is trying to get information. I think what happened was maybe Doctor Strange, going into the Multiverse of Madness, pulled out Peter from the X-Men universe and took him to the Hex in Wanda's timeline to get answers from her, owing to the fact that she would recognize he's the same person even if he doesn't look like the same person. Like the heart and soul would recognize that this is her brother. It would feel like her brother. And if you watch the episode, it progresses. He is family. He does care. He doesn't seem to have an ulterior motive. I'm sorry, he doesn't have to seem a dubious ulterior motive with WandaVision or the kids. He's very happy to be there. He's very much trying to be what's the word I'm looking for? Comforting and accepting of everything that Wanda's doing. He's making it very normal for her, trying to make her comfortable, to lull her into a sense of security and not a false sense of security. Because, like I said, while he may be Peter slash Pietro from a different multiverse, they are still brother and sister. They are still siblings, and he is still going to be genuinely concerned for his sister in another universe. No matter what universe you're in, I would genuinely feel concerned for any of my siblings or family members. So there's no reason to think that Peter slash Pietro wouldn't do the same thing going from the X-Men universe to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness universe. And he's just trying to get information. He's literally just trying to figure out what she's doing, how she did it. And like I said, Wanda gave enough information stating that at least she thinks she's in charge, but somebody else is pulling the strings. And the Nightmare reference is just me wanting it to be Nightmare and Mephisto, or one or the other. I don't care. I just want a new villain. Thanos is gone. Let's see what we got for the next phase of Marvel movies. Let's do this. So the movie marquee in the theater, in the town square, while Wanda and Quicksilver are talking, lists The Incredibles and The Parent Trap. Now, to anybody who's a child or doesn't understand movies, these two movies were never in the theater at the same time. The Incredibles came out November 5th, 2005, and November 5th is actually a very specific date. If anybody remembers the Back to the Future trilogy, which is about time travel, November 5th is the most important date in history, as it is a fixed point in space and time. And that I just wanted to reference that because I'm a nerd. And The Parent Trap came out in July of 1998. Now, at face value, there's nothing really behind it, but if you think about it, The Incredibles is a movie about superheroes, and The Parent Trap is a movie about twins switching places, which, while Wanda is a twin talking to her twin, who is her twin but isn't her twin, is a perfect meta in universe background thing. Haha. Anyways, Wanda and Quicksilver also acknowledge their accents. They both even bring it up and say it out loud. What happened to your accents? And the answer is they don't know. I also love that Evan Peters makes reference to the original Quicksilver from Age of Ultron getting shot in the street like a punk, and then waking up here as a beautiful, beautiful thumbs up to all of us that just hated that. We understand sacrifice in movies, but I mean, he is faster than. Hi, puppy. My puppy just woke up. He's yawning. I'm probably going to have to end this and take him out here in just a second. Anywho, they made two kick-ass references. For anybody that doesn't know why that's significant, Evan Peters, the Quicksilver that we saw, and Quicksilver from Age of Ultron were both stars of the movie Kick-Ass, which is a superhero movie. So Vision once again goes and wakes up Agnes, or I'm sorry, he doesn't do it again to Agnes. He woke up a few other people in the last episode, and now he's taken it and woken up Agnes. Agnes asks if he's dead or if she's dead because Vision is. Vision doesn't know that he's an Avenger or what an Avenger is or anything that Agnes is talking about. And then as he tries to get out of the hex, he starts to fall apart. He's visually dying, meaning, as we all know, he is dead and only being kept alive while he is inside of the hex. So I feel like the hex could have something to do with the witches, and it could be like a whole trifecta. There could be the witches involved and Mephisto involved and Nightmare involved, and now they're all doing this whole thing and keeping the town hostage. And my thoughts on that, Quicksilver asks Wanda where the children came from because we hadn't seen any of them until this very episode. And he was thinking, he's playing it smart, keeping them safe until you needed to see them. But where were they? And so this is where it's going to get a little dark. My whole theory is that all the people in that town died. Something happened there that pretty much wiped out the adult civilization, or maybe even Wanda or Mephisto, or somebody killed all of the adults, and the children haven't been there because they've been still technically alive. I feel like half of them are alive, maybe half of them are alive, and half of them are dead. And there's enough evidence behind that simply because when Agnes asks, "Are you here to help us?" she doesn't specify who. He could just be talking about all the people, but she could be talking about um, Wanda, because the way different residents have been reacting to being woken up by Vision, they all act towards Wanda differently. Like Agnes and Herb have all come out of character and broken the fourth wall and said, um, do we start at the top again? Is everything right? Do you need me to change something? They're all playing along. Whereas in the previous episode, when Vision woke up Norm freaked out. Norm wanted out. He wanted to stop what he was doing. He felt that it was an invasion and he wanted to be gone and able to see his family. He wanted nothing to do with any of it. So half of them are there against their will. Half of them are playing along, but they're playing along for a reason, and that reason is whatever the end game is in the last episode of this that's going to lead us into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's really all I've got. I'll try to hit you up here tomorrow with some more reviews for the whole first season, because I'm going to put together a big overarching theory video for how it's going to play out to the final episode. Be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.